Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducks of Gaming and a new video on the channel, wrapping up two topics. The first is going to be going over the Smite build that I bought a video out for recently, which was an armor stacking build. And the second is what build I'm working on at the moment. I'll very quickly go over the Smite build. I've got it up to 95, got it up to about 10 million DPS. Spent way more than I'd probably have at League Start, and the build still isn't quite where I'd want it to be. To put it bluntly, you have to really run Doriani's prototype and dual wield replica Dream Feathers to get the damage that you need, and that comes with its own problems in that sustain you have to build massively into if you want to survive, and Doriani's has that problem where any lightning damage over time, like the mana siphoners, if you're not careful, they kill you within like 0.3 seconds. So when you are fairly carefree like me and you want to get as quick as you can mapping, these can pop up out the ground and kill you before you even know they have appeared. It wasn't wasted. I learned a lot about the type of build and I did really enjoy it, but I don't think it's anything I would want to League Start. I think if you know very, very well the archetype and you know how you're going to get that currency in the first few days of the league without getting to T16 maps is something that you could do, and people do go around that type of build and they are into that type of build within 2 to 3 days of the league. But for someone who brings content out, I couldn't really wholeheartedly bring this out because even with knowledge, I still struggled at particular points to work out exactly where I wanted the build to go. So it's something that's very hard to bring a guide out for. I do want to look into armor stacking next league, but I think looking at other people's videos, Ascendant is definitely the way to go, and go energy shield rather than life. But that's a topic for another week or another month. The other reason I've decided to drop it is because with the date that the league is falling on, it's much later than was anticipated when this league launched, and I'm on holiday after about 4 days from league start. So I definitely don't want to bring a build that's going to need a lot of hand-holding because I won't be there to answer questions if people get stuck. So because of that, what I'm looking to do now is get into a build that's going to be very cheap and get me to maybe early tier red maps, as in clearing them really, really comfortably. And I'm just going to stay in the league mechanic for the first few days. Then when I get back from my 4 to 5 day break, I'll then decide where I want to take that character. And the build I've actually settled on is a lightning strike build, but we're using swords. So this is a very, very cheap build, but it's going to probably cap out at T16s and not do them particularly quick. But for what I want to do this league, I want to get into the league mechanic and I want to be able to do it around probably item level 78 to 80. Once my gems are qualityed and things like that, the build will be able to do like T16 ultra farming and things like that. But the idea is to build a super, super cheap build that I can just have some fun with for the first few days of the league. So it's essentially a lightning strike build using Ichimonjis, which have not been used for absolutely ages because they're not particularly good. And we're pairing it with champion. The reason I wanted to use Ichimonjis is you get mana reservation from the swords and you also get increased effect of buffs. Along with the champion ascendancy where you also get increased buff effect from this ascendancy here, you can actually get quite a decent bit of damage just from the Wrath aura alone, and then you stack your Grace and Determination along with a Perseverance, and you can get, with your buffs up and your Vile Lightning Strike, 2 to 3 million sustained DPS on bosses, but obviously that's going to last 10 seconds, so it's not going to be something you're going to be able to go in and maybe take on Conquerors or bosses without some improvements. What I will probably do when I'm then back from holiday is to transition this into a Claw Shield crit version, which can then get comfortably up to 10 million DPS, but it needs a bit of investment. I've got a full POB, which I will bring out if I bring the guide out, and it's been super smooth in terms of leveling. There was a couple of rough points just getting to the first lab, didn't feel amazing. And then around Act 9 or 10, just before you get your Fortify Ascendancy, it felt a little bit squishy, but from there, it handled up to yellow maps on a 4 link, yellow maps on a 5 link, and then without really any gear, is doing pretty well in early tier red maps on a very basic corrupted 6 link. Now this is not a definite league start, it's just another idea that I've looked at, but because I am going to be limited on time, playing a build that I can get into really quickly makes sense. And I just like attack builds, I like being quick, I like clearing a map in like 1.5 minutes. So to me, there's limited options. I either go for Rain of Arrows, but then that does need a bit of investment to get the DPS, or I just try and look at a whole new archetype and we don't know what new skill gems are going to come out. But for now, I love this skill. Yes, it's nowhere near as good as it was, and as a league starter, this is far from meta and far from the best that you can do, but I've really, really enjoyed it. So the build itself has got very, very simple gear. It's just some fractured crafted rings to make sure we get the strength and intelligence that we need to run things like a level 20 Wrath. And then just, yeah, life resistances on the gear, a corrupted 6 link, and then a couple of Ichimonjis and then a very cheap crafted cluster jewel that has scintillating idea, and then a small cluster jewel to get some mana reservation efficiency. The reason for that is that with Ichimonji's and the Ascendancy and the cluster jewel and charisma here, I can run quite a few auras. So we have Determination, Grace, Wrath, Defiance Banner, and then we have a very low level precision that I can put on if I start to struggle with accuracy. But at the moment we are 3,800 and I've only got 3,000 life. It's a non-crit precise technique build, and we're just stacking lightning damage. We're not even going Trinity. We've got Lightning Strike, Added Lightning, Volatility, LE damage with attacks, Multi-Strike, and then Inspiration. And this build will definitely have a ceiling if it's not going crit, which is why I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for anyone as an entire build, but it's going to transition really well into a Claw and Shield Lightning Strike build. So like I say, I've still got some more testing to do. My character is up to level 83. I still need to flip my gems. A few things I need to do. I have tested this setup on another character, and once it has got the gems qualityed up and you've got your level up to like 92, 93, it can do red maps and altar farming and boss rushing and things like that, but I don't think it could do much more. But it will certainly be able to earn a ton of currency. And hopefully if the lead mechanic is rewarding in late tier yellow maps, early tier red maps, then I can get jumped in realistically after 10 to 12 hours of play, because the swords are 1C, perseverance is a few chaos, and then the rest of the gear I'll just buy some cheap fractured items, throw a few essences at it, and the build is good to go. It just needs levels and gem levels. I won't bring any more videos out on this until we've had patch notes and I decide whether this is what I want to go for. But it is an option that I'm looking at, like I say, because I'm going to be strapped for time at league start. So we'll take the character for a very quick spin. It's level 83, just about to hit 84. Like I said, I've not got quality on my gems yet because I've not yet hit 20. So we'll just go and do a tier 13 map. And this is kind of where I'd want it to be. I don't really want to push any further. So hopefully, as I say, the lead mechanic is rewarding. If not, what I could do is recraft my jewelry so that it has flat lightning damage and everything. And that will give me about 15% more DPS, which means once my gems get flipped, I can then farm T14 to T16 altars if I need to. But the main reason for picking this type of build is I just like to go quick at the beginning, and I hate clunky builds. Even if I'm doing half the DPS that someone else is doing with spells, I just love the way Champion and Raider feels at league start. There we go, Divine Off, that'll do. Oop. The only thing I hate about Leap Slam is when you get stuck on scenery. As you can see, once you start getting mobs with like extra life and stuff, it doesn't feel amazing. But for a non-crit build on, well, pretty much zero budget, it's not too bad. I do miss the ailment avoidance though of Raider. I definitely notice when you get children shot, but it is what it is. Yeah, so that's kind of how the build plays at the moment. As I say, lots more to go. There's probably another 20% damage to come out of just optimizing the gear a tiny bit for cheap, getting gems flipped, getting my auras up to levels, because every level my auras go up, my damage goes up because of both perseverance and the Wrath aura. That's kind of it for the video. I've left the POB in the description for where the character is now. I'm working out, fleshing out a full POB in case I decide to league start it. But I definitely won't be releasing it as a league start guide, because there's going to be hundreds of better builds to get you to T16 maps nice and early at league start. So what we might do this time is maybe review other people's builds and bring out builds that I recommend people play, because I know the type of builds that people that watch my videos like to play. And if there's no changes to Raider and Champion Rain of Arrows, I'll tweet those guides just so people have got up-to-date ones if they wanted to play it. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.